अवधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः, व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो यान्यपश्यन्।
तदेतत् सत्यं
read, just read, and if you don't think about it, it will go easier, because we have already repeated it word by word. There is no reason why you cannot know this. Yeah. And if you don't know what mantra we are on, I will go back upstairs. Yeah, that's what I will do. Yeah. What's the point? Yeah. तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो यान्यपश्यन्। तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो यान्यपश्यन्। त्रेतायां बहुधा सन्ततानि, तान्याचरथ नियतं सत्यकामाः। Not nityam. Read. Please read. Okay, we are going to do this all over again because something is off, and we'll try to get back on track again. Tat etat satyam mantreshu karmani kavayah yani apashyan tani tretayam. What happened? Tretayam bahudha santatani tani acharatha niyatam satyakamaha eshah vah panthaha. Resist the temptation with the Western accent to say panthaha. It's not pantha, it is pantha. Okay? Yeah. Panthaha sukrutasya loke. Yeah. You want to do this word by word again and again? No. तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो यान्यपश्यन्। तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो. Yesterday you did it?
Swamiji, I need to go and get my book.
Yeah. Yesterday you did it. What happened?
I don't have it, Swamiji.
Yeah, why are you coming to class without book? Text should be there. When you come to class, it's the basic requirement. Most basic requirement is to come to class with a text, okay? Yeah. Who doesn't have text? Here, come, take this for chanting purposes and then give it back to me. You take this now and then you give it back to me after we chant. So nicely you were chanting, what happened?
I just have
Monday morning
the
print
out.
out.
Monday
Get a
morning
print
happened
out.
on Sunday.
Yeah, some. You don't have a text?
I have.
You have, okay.
I think I kind of found it.
You have the text?
Yeah, we got the CD.
Yeah, don't come to class if you don't have the text. Find the text. Nowadays, online, offline, everybody, everywhere it is there. So you have to just have the text. Without text, what's the point? This is the most basic thing. Always have the text. All right. Are we going to try again?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो यान्यपश्यन् तदेतत् सत्यं मन्त्रेषु कर्माणि कवयो यान्यपश्यन् तानि त्रेतायां बहुधा सन्ततानि
तानि त्रेतायां बहुधा सन्ततानि
तान्याचरथ नियतं सत्यकामाः
तान्याचरथ नियतं सत्यकामाः
एष वः पन्थाः सुकृतस्य लोके
एष वः पन्थाः सुकृतस्य लोके
Abba, okay. I guess we'll go on. Huh. Unhand the book.
I scared someone very slowly.
Huh?
Someone got scared away.
That's good. Very good. I'm happy. Yeah. So, now, you can print nowadays, thanks to the digital age, you can print the book at home. You can print the bhashya at home. You bring the, Google, Frugal, everything. Yeah. So there is no reason to come to class without the text. Yeah, unless of course one thinks it is Monday when it is Sunday. Correct? So that's the only explanation, I suppose. So it's part of what's the word for it? It's part of self-care. This is, yes, you heard correctly. Self-care, self-love. I love myself enough to bring the text to class. Yeah. Just like Atma, you have it, you don't know you have it. Now, what to do? So, this is part of self-care. That truti means the gaps are here to learn the lesson of how much I want myself. Yeah. How serious I am about totally, what this leads to is a complete redefinition of this self as all love. And that cannot happen unless there is some relative self-love and self-caring which has to be cultivated, right? Yeah. So, adhikritasya, adhikaraha means there is an expression. Adhikrita means qualified. Adhikara is what you deserve. So, in fact, to the one who is qualified gets the just desserts. And what are the just desserts here? It's not just dessert. It's the whole universe. As this is a serious matter, because this is not what we are studying is for real, and the care that we expend in all the rituals surrounding it brings it home in a certain way, because brings the seriousness of it, to back to us. It's a gift that keeps on giving. So we learn to chant it, and we learn to be in the place of always receiving. And the receiving happens when the recipient is present. And I make myself into a recipient that is present to receive the gifts. And in order to make myself a recipient to receive the presents, I have to be present, correct? That's what it is. Adhikritasya Adhikaraha. In Sanskrit we say that. So, tat etat satyam. And what that tat is has not been told in the first line of the mantra. The mantra is being a little informal with us. That, you know that. What is that? Which is going to be told. This which is going to be told. Tad etat satyam. This is not the tat from Tattvamasi. No. This is the tat which is a simple, that. Just a simple that. What is that? This which is going to be told, Like we talk about this, we talk about usage of words, this and that, very informally in our language, I met that person. Which person? This person. And you don't, without the person being introduced, how does anybody know which person you met? So like this, it is a tat is going to refer to, karmani. Yeah. And also grammatically, also it's not correct. Tani karmani it should say. Tani etat satyam. No. Tat etat satyam. So that meaning it's referring to the karmas, but it is referring to the karmas in the collective, not as one karma, two karmas, three karmani. No, it's referring to them collectively as a body of karma and karma phala, and together it is calling it tat. Yeah. So tat, that which I am going to say, Upanishad says, etat satyam. This is indeed true. What kind of truth is it? Relatively true. It is true on the level of the empirical plane which governs action. What comes after action? Fruit of action. And what happens to the fruit of action? Papa punya. And we are only talking of punya here. Upanishad is very polite. Yeah. We are only talking of punya here. And so fruit of action. And that fruit of action also fructifies into, what does punya fructify? What's the use of punya? What does it do? Comfortable situations in the here or hereafter. Thereafter, hereafter. So here we are not looking for the comfortable situations here. We are looking here for the comfortable situations hereafter, because the extent of the human insecurity is such and so pervasive that it will go to any length to try to book some, reserve some seats elsewhere. So this mantra is actually showing the extent of the human insecurity by saying that the first portion of the Veda, which you have newly minted and emerged from, because the person before they come to the Upanishad, where are they? They are in the world of the first portion of the Veda. Oh, but I have never studied the Veda. Why are you bringing this up? You keep bringing this up. Take it metaphorically. Before you studied Vedanta, before you came to Vedanta, what were you doing? More of the same, correct? What were you doing? Action. And then not liking the response, the result of action. Trying to do more action to change that. And then trying to do more. And feeling insecure. Accomplishing something. Not being happy with the accomplishment. Accomplishing something else. And this is what you are doing. And this is what the first portion of the Veda represents. It represents the gamut, literally, the whole compendium of human desires. And so don't get stuck in the Veda and the ritual of the Veda and think, this does not pertain to me because I have never even touched the Veda, much less done a fire ritual. Don't get stuck on the particulars. The Veda is just a signpost. That we are discussing, the first portion of the Veda is a signpost. It indicates the whole gamut of human desires and the various ways people scramble to try to fulfill those desires, both the desires connected to the here and the desires connected to the thereafter. This is what the Veda, the first portion of the Veda represents. It represents the compendium of human desires. It represents the recipes. What kind of recipes? The recipes that keep one on the track of ethical dharma. Those recipes, not recipes of how to rob a bank. It represents the best of the human efforts, the most ethical, the most appropriate, and the effort that takes into account, the best effort on part of the human being is that which takes into account the variables, all the variables. How can you take into account all the variables? Are you Bhagavan? No, but I can connect to Bhagavan. I have the phone number. Yeah. And for the Hindus, it's a local phone call. It's not even long distance because Bhagavan is everywhere. Yeah. Other traditions, you have to have long distance phone call. Lot of money you have to spend, and you have to have an operator connecting your call in the form of a priest or a mullah, yeah, who appoint themselves as operators. Here it's a direct call. Yeah. You have Bhagavan's mobile. In fact, Bhagavan is mobile for us. Yeah, Bhagavan is everywhere. And so it's a local phone call, and you just sort of say, please, as you're about to set out and embark on this, set of efforts, after a few false starts, that there are hidden variables, and because of these hidden variables which you cannot control, that somebody else can. Who? The Niyanta, the controller. Here is where Ishvara features. Now, this is Ishvara's role. So you just make a call because you have references in high places, and you make a call. Please take care of this, okay? Yeah, and that call is called Nitya Karma, morning puja. Yeah, please take care of these. These are some obstacles coming, mental obstacles, physical obstacles, emotional obstacles, karmic obstacles. Yeah, all kinds of obstacles are there, and I'm going about my day, and so please take care of all these things. Yeah. So every morning you have a phone call, an invariable phone call to take care of the variables. This is what it is. So in the Hindu tradition, we go a little further because we take care of not only the variables that are known, that I have some charge over, but then we also are pragmatic enough to know that there are out there a lot of lurking ghouls of hidden variables that just jump, and scare you. Yeah. And so therefore what they come and they waylay your efforts. Yeah. And then you find that that's why you work hard and the neighbor gets the promotion. You plant a tree and it goes and all the fruits and flowers fall into the neighbor's yard. Why? Because this call wasn't done. You didn't take care of the call. Yeah. So the first portion of the Veda, that's why it has something to share, it has something for us to learn, because it represents not only the best of all the human efforts and the gamut of human desires, but it shows the connection between the human efforts and the results thereof, especially when these hidden variables are taken care of. In the sense that even on the level of Drishtaphala, the immediate results, there are no, there is no stress. Once you have made the call, you can say, okay, the big boss is taking care of it. I don't have to do anything. You let it go. So you don't always, keep chewing on it. Yeah, that's the whole thing. You don't keep grinding your teeth on because of it. You just let it go. And that ability to let go is the greatest present of the first portion of the Vedas. So the first portion of the Veda represents the scrambling of humans and their desires, but nicely tailor-made, with regard to certain tracks. Like you are on the Swarga track, you will do Soma Yajna and Agnihotra and all these things you will do. You are in the, money track, Vittam. Vittam track, first was Lokaishana, you want to go places, these are the things you will do. Then you are on the Vittaishana track. What is Vittaishana? Desire for wealth. And so what will you do? You will start becoming friends with Lakshmi, and you will make her into a, what's the word for it? Into a pal, a friend, and she will just shower you in wealth. So you start, first of all, to propitiate Lakshmi is not easy. Yeah, she's not some Shiva. Shiva, you just say, oh, Om Namah Shivaya, and Shiva just showers you with all kinds of things. Lakshmi, you say, oh goddess, where are you? Not in your house. She says, I'm busy, don't bother me. That's what she's going to say. So she's a, high maintenance devata, in the sense that, even in India, you see, if there is a Lakshmi temple, it has to have a pure gold, that gopuram, that thing they put on top, the shikha, not the gopura, shikha. It has to have all gold. And she says, don't even bother to build me a temple unless you collect enough money for the solid. It should not be hollow. That solid shikha that you put on, it should be pure, gleaming, 100% gold. Yeah. Otherwise, she says, I'm not going to bother coming and sitting here. Just because you called, why should I come? What have you done with the money I gave in the last life? You hoarded it. And you squandered it on all kinds of nonsensical things, nonsensical addictions. Why should I come? This is what it is. Hoarded, she won't come. Because really speaking, she doesn't belong to you. Oh, who does she belong to? Vishnu. Yeah. She's on loan, that's all. Yeah. She just comes and does blesses, and he recalls her, she goes back. Yeah, when she goes back, she takes back whatever she has brought. That's the only problem. So, as long as you know that she belongs to Vishnu and Vishnu belongs to her, you're okay. That's how the wealth has to be taken care of. But then people hanker after wealth, and so there is all these expensive homas and prayers that are there. This Chandi Homa and this Shri Sukta Homa. And all these things, they're big, Sri Chakra, and then all this goddess kind of things. And that is the middle track, correct? The second one, I mean. And then what's the third track? Putraisha. And then Putrakameshti, and Jataveda Yajna, all these things for, and also included, Putraishana means desire for progeny. Also included in that is for people who want to become, what's the word for that? To be highly popular leaders. So these Vashikarana mantras, scary they are. But a lot of these spiritual leaders do this. Unfortunately, they last only 90 days. 90 days warranty. Every 90 days they have to sit and do these expensive things. Om Gam Ganapataye Varada Varada Janam Me Vashamanaya Swaha. Vashamanaya. Bring everybody. Janam. All the people. May they come under my spell. Yeah. That is actually a very mild one. Because that has a nice way of, there is a nice interpretation of that. That actually one can do and get away with it. It's not a problem. But there are other extreme forms of this kind of a homa, where the only desire is to have people as my wealth. That is the whole thing. So that I have a huge following and everybody says Namaha Namaha, like this. This is called the Hiranyakashipu syndrome. That's what he wanted. Yeah, Hiranyakashipu syndrome. And he wanted everyone, everybody in the town was saying a mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Hiranyakashipu said, no, we have to correct this. He says, you should say Om Hiranyaya Namaha. This is what you have to say. And then they said, what will happen if we don't say? Simple, your head will no longer be on your shoulders. It will be rolling somewhere on the ground. He was a dictator, power hungry. This is what is called, what is that? Lokaishana, not this one. The Putraishana is also this desire for this immense control, immense desire for control. Then everybody started to say it except his own son. That's the whole thing. So these are the tracts. All the desires can be put in these 3 tracts. And for all these 3 tracts, there are rituals galore. And so this mantra is about looking into the veracity of the rituals, not in the sense that they don't deliver, because they are all part of the same Veda. If Vedanta is a means of knowledge and Vedanta is at the end of the Veda, Veda is also a means of knowledge. And that's the only way. Otherwise, how are you going to get money, Oh, I can work hard. You've been doing that for several lifetimes. It hasn't come. It hasn't worked. All right, I'll propitiate Goddess Lakshmi through this particular yajna. So you try it out because you have nothing to lose. That's the whole thing. So these are all but you don't know the connection between feeding the fire with gold nuggets and Lakshmi coming and sitting in your lap. You don't know the connection. That's what I meant. Unknown means known means unknown ends. Unknown means known ends. Here the end is known. I want with them. But the means and what is the how does just some spiral going smoke go and bring Lakshmi from somewhere? How? One doesn't know. This is where the Shraddha is, that the trust that this is going to be beneficial to me because the Veda has been given to me for my benefit is there. But really, even though the first portion of the Veda addresses the gamut of human desires and how to fulfill them, that's not the benefit of the first portion of the Veda. The main benefit of the first portion of the Veda is to learn the lesson that these desires, no matter how much I jump around trying to fulfill them, will not fulfill me. Even fulfilled, the desire is not going to fulfill me until I know that I am already full and I am already Purna. This is what I have to know. So the first portion of Veda, even though we make fun of it, and this portion of the Upanishad is going to make fun of it, is not useless. Its purpose is served if you are able to come to this place and see the humor of it and enjoy the subtle humor in the upcoming verses, in the mantras. Then you have graduated from being a slave to those desires. And if you are a slave to the end, you are also a slave to the means. You are hitched to the means, correct? So that is what the whole thing is. This is like an aversion therapy that I said yesterday. Tadetat satyam. This indeed is correct. What is correct? Karmani mantreshu. That in the mantras, karmani yani, kavayah apashyan. Those mantras which the seers, the Vedic seers called kavayah, the people who are able to see the mantras, channel the mantras, unto whom the Vedas, the God Bhagavan revealed the mantras, through whom these rishis, kavis, what did they see? Yani apashyan, the mantras that they saw. Tani Tretayam, in the 3 Vedas, Bahudha Santatani, have an abiding presence in the 3 Vedas. Santata means here to stay, disseminated, spread, yeah. And then Tani, those aforementioned mantras. What are the mantras? What are the mantras saying? The mantras are not saying Tattvamasi. The mantras are talking about karma. It was already then. Yeah. Mantreshu karmani. So here Tani means karmani, not mantras. Because mantra, we will say mantraha. But here, karmani. Mantran no. Karmani here. Tani karmani. Acharatha. The one that follows. May you follow. Who? The one who is interested in karma phala, naturally. The one who is interested in these threefold tracks of desires, desire to be popular, have a big following, have children, have grandchildren, desire to, control the children, and desire to, have lot of money, and then desire to, and money includes, car, big house, lot of clothes, all these things come under vittam, Not enough to have one house, I have to have 3 more, in different destinations and locations. These are all comes under vittam, security, and all these kinds of things. And then the last one is going places, here and hereafter. So all these come out of the ajnanam and insecurity, which are the recipe, as we saw in the Gita Bhashya yesterday, for shoka moha. For shoka is what? Sorrow and delusion. This is what the whole thing is. So if you don't know that, please, tani acharatha, please follow this. Who? O satyakamaha. O ye seekers of the truth. There is a humor there. Seekers of what? The relative truth. Seekers of the here and now. Even the hereafter for us is here and now only. And the seekers of the here and now, meaning the people who are karmathas, karmis, karmin, meaning that they are hooked to and addicted on the performance of karma as their basic, what is that called, justification for their life. Karmi. So these karmis, may you do karma, because what else will you do? You can't sit in a Vedanta class. You will not be able to sit. Why? Because you will keep on thinking of the stock market. You will be taking stock somewhere else. Or you will be worrying about your employees. This is what happens. That's why, like sometimes these busy professionals come to the Vedanta class and they'll have this, what is that? One belt with that mobile phone. And they're always on call. They're not doctors, but they're always on call. And then, even though they keep it supposedly on silent, mode, because the organizer will announce, please shut down your cell phones, all these things. Swami is going to speak. And, and the thing, the buzzing, and such a loud buzz it gives. In the middle of the talk. Cacophony. And then more buzz is created because, they are sitting on the floor for the first time in their lives. And they cannot, while sitting, it's all bent here. Yeah. The Madhya Pradesh is covering the phone. And they're not able to access the phone. And then they're sitting along with so many other people. So they elbow the one this side by mistake. And they literally fall over the one on that side, and they have to get up, and then they have to attend, and then they see who it is. Oh no, it's the company calling, So they part company from the class, run off, and after knocking over a few people sitting behind, and then go out the door, talk loudly, so that everybody hears, even the people in the class. And then they come back. And and after a few more casualties, sit down. This is what happens. This is the Satyakama. Satyakama means the one who is completely addicted to their world of work and the result of the action and result of action, and nothing else features except these 3 tracks of desires. And these are the people who will plan for 3 lifetimes. Yeah, they've already planned. This life, this next life, I'm going to be a better corporate, and that's what they will pray for. Oh Bhagavan, hey Bhagavan, this time I've had only 3 corporations, next time give me 5, next life. They say that. This is the one with Vittaishana will say. And you know what the one with Putraishana will say? This time you have given me losers as children. Yeah, there is one prayer to how to have good progeny in the next life. It's all in the Veda. Yeah. Yadi ya icchet duhita me pandita syat tilaudanena tilaudanam pachayitva ashniyatam. Yadi ya icchet, if anybody desires, because this life too far gone, everybody was, everybody that I gave birth to, their IQ was 79. So, next life I want to ensure that I don't have these kinds of duffers for children. So, let's try to do what to do. Take recourse to the Veda. What does it say? Yadiya icchet. If anybody wants, if anybody desires, and what do they desire? That duhita me, that my daughter, pandita syat, is actually one with gleaming self-knowledge. The day she is born, you can shut down your electric account because she is glowing with self-knowledge from birth itself, and she is an expert in everything. Duhita me pandita syat. Then what do? This is an advice to the parents. Tilaudanam means this, sesame and rice and some jaggery or something like that. You grind and eat together. Both of you, husband and wife. Unfortunately, see the small details. This is sounding very good. Now everybody is whipping out. They may not have brought the text to class, but they are whipping out the book to write down the recipe. Oh, this is sounding very nice. It's a small caveat. Oh, what is that? Well, unfortunately, the recipe has been lost to us. So we just know that it is rice and sesame seed and maybe some jaggery, but we don't know in which proportion. Yeah, that's all. Ashniyatam means may you both eat. May that person, may those two people, the parents to be, eat this. And like this, if you want a son, the next mantra says, I didn't memorize that, but because I was not interested in that one. And if you want a son who comes out of the womb with a gold mine attached to him, that's why I didn't memorize that. So, you please, grind some nuts and something and, offer it and then eat it. This is an advice to the parents. You see? Yeah. So then the sadness of not having a wealthy son in this life, how do you process this? You keep doing yajna, you keep eating all these things and then, hope in the next life. It's good because if that's where your desire is, you don't take it out on the poor children who did not fulfill your expectation. You are busy eating til and rice and yeah. And when a person passes away, this is what you say. And the like supposing the wife passes away, this is what the husband will say, that in this life I had a lot of shortcomings. This is the prayer. As the body is being taken away, they are, each one is asked to pray, the family. This life I was not able to be a good husband to you because of all these shortcomings that you so helpfully pointed out every day. But in your next life, may you have an appropriate spouse that is deserving of you. And the children will say, this life I was not a good son, I was not a good daughter. In your next life, may you have the children who will just be in keeping with your mindset. This is the thing. It's not a small thing, it's a huge thing. And even though we are making fun of it, you can see that this offers a lot of breaks, BRAKES, breaks, so that, the person doesn't vent out their desires in a very inappropriate manner to all and sundry. They don't take it out on their children. They don't take it out on the corporation because it's not making money and the poor employees. They don't take it out on their followers, by beating them into submission. They don't take it out on all these, people, because they understand that there is some karmic block here, and they try to resolve the karmic block by engaging in what? Engaging in the ways that they know how to contact the hidden variables and remove the blocks. And this way they have something to do because they were already doers. They are not ready for Vedanta yet. So they keep pouring the ghee and and keep eating so many sesame seeds that they become an antioxidant bottle, walking antioxidant bottle. Correct? Yeah. And if you shake their hand, you have till oil, so much sesame seeds they are eating. So it keeps them on track. They don't get depressed. They don't fall into a depression because they are busy doing yajnas. This is, you see, it is useful. It's not just useful to ready someone for Vedanta, it's useful on the relative plane and in other ways. So they are busy, they are not, bugging themselves, they are not falling in and sinking into a depression. That my child is in the jail, turned out to be a loser, Yeah. My child is a delinquent. Where did I go wrong? This is where the parents go. Parents feel very guilty. If the child does something, they see, what did I do wrong? Why did this one, this one went to jail and the second one went to an ashram? So, yeah, one is in the penitentiary, the other one in the zenitentiary. This is what the, So they get busy with rituals in the hope that the next life will be better because this is inbuilt into the culture. And it is very sane because they don't take it out on the children. Yeah, they don't bother the one in the ashram. They can't bother the one in the penitentiary, but they can bother the one who in the ashram. They don't bother. They say, okay, this is probably a good thing. First they think it is bad because they want the children to have their same, not one track mind, 3-track mind, putra, vitta and loka. They desired these 3 things and they want to impose the same desire on the children. And when the child responds by rebelling either against the society by going into the jail, or another kind of rebellion is, getting extreme vairagya at age 16 and a half, like Ramana Maharshi did. Ramana Maharshi's mother was expecting some guests at home. They were coming for tea. So she said gave him some money. At that time it was 25 paise. Now you don't even see this 25 paise. Nobody knows what it is even. It was called 4 annas in those days. And you could buy, some snacks with it, I suppose. So she said, go and get some milk and something for the people so that we can make it. The guests are coming. Go to the neighborhood shop. And he was, always in a trance. And he took the money all right and never came back. 16 years old, 16 and a half, barely. And then 3 days later, everybody got worried. What happened? Boy has gone, boy hasn't come back. And 3 or 4 days later, the brother searched for him high and low and then told the description, this slightly distracted boy clutching some pennies. Where is he? The last time they saw him was leaving town. So he had a brother, and the brother went on hot on pursuit and found him in the cave meditating with the money clutched in the hand. You see? Yeah. And of course, everybody scolded him, and he listened to the scolding. Poor fellow, what else will he do? The boy listened to the scolding and gently and firmly said, there's no point in coming back, and gave the money back. This is what it is. Yeah, and same thing he did. He stood in line. He wanted to take a train to go to the present day Tiruvannamalai, and he stood in line for the ticket. And when his turn came, the clerk at the ticket thing said, where is your money? And he said, I don't have it. And the people behind him bought his ticket. There is no money, and I know it's wrong to get on the train without the ticket, so I'm just here, I'm standing here. So, these kinds of children, if anybody has, actually the parents are very blessed. But because they are stuck in the first portion of the Veda, they don't know. They don't know this. Because they want to drag the child by the ear or the hair, whichever is available first, and make them go on the line of the beaten track of earning money and earning fame and name and having children. You see, this is what happens. They will, welcome with all the rituals the boy who has become a sannyasi, as long as the boy is the neighbor's child. Yeah. Their own child, oh, big time freak out. Yeah. So this is what happens. Because all the expectations, and asha pratikshe, everything is on the child. So therefore, here the first portion of the Veda has a lot, even though we are making fun of it, we have to see that it has use. What is the use? It prepares you for the Vedanta, first use. By seeing disappointment after disappointment, even after doing the ritual, because I made some mistakes and, I was distracted. While doing yajna, I was also flossing teeth. And so, therefore the fruits were not given to me. So, that is one problem. That I keep dealing with disappointments and that matures me. So, that is the first use and the best use of the first portion of the Veda. The second use is that it keeps one sane by not sinking into a depression of self-blame if the desires are not fulfilled, especially with intimate desires connected to children, etc. That is very hard to take in. And then it keeps a kind of a harmony in society, because the people are busy doing these elaborate rituals in the hope of that present day child either becoming okay or the next life child, better child. So they are not targeting it on the people. They are not targeting their anger either at themselves or at others. And that is the first step to spirituality. You stop blaming yourself, you stop blaming others. Then you are ready to enter the second portion of the Vedas. But this mantra is targeted towards people who are still stuck there. And it is offering a glossy brochure, which seems very easy. Like some of these destinations in wildlife destinations, safari. How do you get there? Well, it's so wonderful. Look at these elephants, and that you'll be seeing them right outside the jeep window. And here is a lion sitting on top of the jeep. They have photos like that. National Geographic. Here is a tiger cub investigating the camera. Ooh, so nice. And you see this big eye inside because it is looking at it. Yeah, objects in the camera are closer than they appear. So you go, and then it is so remote that it's not just a plane ride. Plane ride is hard enough, and then after that you have to go by some bus, and then you have to go by some bullock cart or some cart. Then you have to go. Before that you have to take 2-3 trains, and at the end of which you wish there was a chiropractor lying in wait. A massage table at least, if not chiropractor, because the back is gone. Yeah, the back has started to talk back. So then all these efforts you don't know. On the face of it, it looks very good. Everything looks good until you read the fine print, correct? And then this is what is representing a glossy version of the first portion of the Veda brochure. Tadetat satyam. This is indeed true. What is true? That it is written there is true. That these mantras the Kavis channeled is true. That if you follow this you will get the results is also true on the relative plane. If you don't get the results, that's because you haven't done the rituals properly. That is also true. It's going to be told later. What else is true? That there is a connection between karma and karma phala. That action and result of action are connected. That is also true. And that if you are desirous of these particular things, these particular rituals you do and which are geared towards that action, that is also true. That you cannot control the fruit of action, that is also true. And if you want to go to heaven, this is the way to pave the bridge to heaven is through your own karmic bricks. This is also true. So here is this wonderful, recipe presented. True, relatively true, okay, yeah, not absolutely true, because there are many slips between the yajna and the ghee. Yeah. Yeah. You just pick the ghee to take and put it there, and then it doesn't go there. Yeah, because there are 15 other people waiting in line before you. So you end up pouring the ghee right in front of you on the floor and then slipping on it for good measure. So many things can happen. So therefore what? Therefore this is all true in the relative sense, not in the absolute sense. In the relative sense of the embodied jiva and the jagat and Ishvara. So this is giving the best kind of relationship you can have with other jivas, with yourself, with Ishvara, and how to milk Ishvara's grace in order to gain more and more things in the jagat. This is the recipe, and it's a, what is that called? Watertight recipe. This is what it is. So, O Satyakama, O ye bearer of the truth, desirer of the truth. Here this is a nice humor. Eshavah Pantha. If you want a red carpet to heaven, every single piece of yarn is one yajna, and we are not spinning a yarn, it is true. This is how to weave the red carpet, the flying carpet to take you to heaven. This is how to weave. So this is what the thing is. Bhashya. Tadetat satyam iva ittham iva tatham and that means tad etat satyam avitatham avitatham, not iva tatham. Tad etat satyam avitatham means that this which is going to be described, and this indeed is true. What is that? That which is about to be described. And Adi Shankara asks a rhetorical question. Kim tat mantreshu rigvedadakyeshu karmani agnihotradini mantraihi eva prakashitani kavayo medhavino Vasishtadayo Yani Apashyan Drishtavantaha. Yeah, this indeed is true. Avitatham, avitatham means definitely, and what is this? That which is going to be described. Kim etat, kim tat, what is that? Mantreshu, in the mantra. And what are the mantras? Rigvedadi Akhyeshu. Rigveda, etc. These three Vedas. Akhyeshu, that which has been elucidated. What are they? Karmani, all the religious karmas here. And what are the religious karmas? Starting with Agnihotra. Why do we start with Agnihotra? A for Agnihotra. Yeah. That's why you start. So just in English we have an explanation from A to Z, right? Don't we have that, way of saying it? So how do you say it in Sanskrit? From Agnihotra to Ashwamedha. That is how you say it. So here A for Agnihotra. And so Agnihotra Dini, because you start with the most basic and simple one. So, and it also begins with A. So, and through Agnihotra, mantraihi eva, and only through those mantras connected to the ritual called Agnihotra, prakashitani, that which has, those mantras which have shed the light on how to do this karma, how to do these religious actions, who saw kavayaha, and kavayaha means medhavin. Medhavin is who? The one who wins everything because of Medha. Medha Shakti. Medhavin. So the one Medhavi. Medhavi means the one who is equipped with Medha Shakti. A big intellect, big buddhi. A buddhi. Medha Shakti is really, what it is? It is cultivated. Yeah. It's not brain power, really. Because brain power, what is this? Intelligent quotient, etc. That is something which is static. Medha Shakti is dynamic. So if you start chanting the Medha Suktam, what's going to happen? The recall is going to increase, the retention is going to increase, and the grasping power is going to increase. What does it show? If something can be changed by prayer, what does it show? That it was already there, it is inhibited by fears, desires and distractions, which are also because of desire. Hang-ups, resistance, fears. So that is why here these are Kavis are who? They see more than what is, that they are not seeing things, not subjective things. They see more, they are able to extrapolate and go on a path and see that, okay, if this happens, that is what is true, and if that happens, they are able to see and make connections, mature connections, and they are able to see more than what is available for sight, and they are able to see the mantras because they have overcome their inhibitions and ragadveshas. This is what makes it a rishi. They are not some special people chosen by God, to come on a mountain and receive some commandments. No. It is everyone can be a Medhavi, provided that one works towards upashamana, the resolution of all the gamut of sorrow, fear, desire, which the mind is filled with. Those have to be taken care of. You can't deny that they are there. You have to work with them. And we have dealt in other classes how to work with the inner child. That's what this is all about. And so that is why these are the Medhavis. And what did who are the Medhavis? Vasishtha. One Rishi example he gives, who has been credited with channeling some of the mantras. So Medhavis, Vasishtadayah, Vasishtha, etc. Yani apashyan, those mantras which they saw. The mantras came with the karmas. Mantra was about how to do the karmas. The saw means what? Drishtavantaha, the one who was credited with the ability to see. And then what? Yat, etat, satyaka, etat satyam, ekanta purushartha, sadhanatvat. Now we go back to the question which was raised earlier. Etat satyam. Why is it true? He gives a beautiful explanation. He says because it's the only way of getting what you don't have. This is a tall claim. Ekanta means only through this, no other way. Ekanta purushartha sadhanam. Ekanta here doesn't mean alone. You can say this alone or only this. This alone doesn't mean sitting in a cave. Alone, these mantras and the karmas ensuing from the mantras and the instructions on how to do the karmas, these alone are the only means for fulfilling those desires. Why? Because nothing else has worked. Why nothing works? Because this is a karmic block. That is Bhagavan. We don't call it karmic block, we call it a prasada. From the standpoint of Vedanta, any block is a prasada. Is a way to, is a message of what is to be done and how to go forward. Yeah. So what is not to be pursued? When any block comes, you have to, like the water. The water is very clever. It is so fluid and flexible, it will change course. It will surmount the obstacle, but not directly by, contradicting it. It will go around the mountain if a mountain comes. If you dam the river, it will find some other way and go and reach the ocean. So if the ocean is the destination, the river or the body of water will definitely flow to it. And so too here, everything else has failed because there are blocks. And these mantras, along with the karmas that they unfold, are the recipe to overcome the blocks. So if you are the flowing river, it teaches you how to be flexible, how to overcome the block, how to gain the grace of the hidden variables, which is nothing but Ishvara, which you are not able to see. And as long as you are a beggar for asking for things, then you have to deal with Ishvara as another, as the creator, as another away from you, as an entity who is in charge of everything that you want, and who has to be supplicated, propitiated, and who has to be entered into a relationship to get what I want, because as this creator, Ishvara is, or the presence of Ishvara in the form of my own karma, is blocking my access to the desirable goodies. Correct? So this is what is this is where is the duality. These are the places where the duality, lurk. And the duality lurks in my relationship with other jivas. That's why I have to invite them when I do yajna, propitiate them, give them gifts, send them off. So there is that duality. There is a duality between myself and Ishvara, correct? Because I have to invoke Ishvara not as the truth of myself, even though that is there in the first portion of the Veda also in abundant places. But still what I am focused on is invoking Ishvara as the fruit of my karma and as the block of my karma, and invoking Ishvara as the karma phala data, as the giver of the results of karma, and say, please trahimam, pahimam, take care of me. And so there is a duality between jiva and jiva, jiva and Ishvara, and then the final duality is between jiva and jagat, srishti. So jiva and jagat, because the jagat has both things I want and things I don't want, because that's all I know, is what is the apparent reality is the only reality for me. So the jagat is filled with things that I want and things that I don't want. So how do I dance my life in the jagat? By going towards pravritti, towards the things I want, and then nivritti, running away from the things that I don't want. But unfortunately, because of the rotten karma, what happens? Because of my rotten karma, things I want run away from me. So I'm going like this, they are running away. And then I go back and they start following. Things I don't want keep following. Things I want keep running away. This is the thing, Yeah. One always chases what one cannot have. From people to things to whatever. That's what I told you yesterday also, that one is allergic to the things that were, Ayurveda will say. They say all the kapha pravritti people love oily, fried, sweet things. And the pitta pravritti people, pitta dosha, they will want all spicy, hot things. And the vata people will want all, what's the kinds of things that are dry chips, things like that. Yeah, they love those things. And we're already dehydrated, and then eating all these dry things all the time. Yeah, this is what it is. In even lifestyle, they like only those things which are contrary to them. This is human nature. On the level of the gunas, at the level of the gunas, not human nature as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. We are talking of the relative Satyam. So even in terms of the lifestyle, the kapha people, don't want to get up. Yeah, want to always be sleeping. And then, and I saw this very nice thing once. I was asked to go and bless this baby. It was having its first feeding ceremony, Annaprashanam. And then 8 months old or something like that. Plump, very cute. And then, but had no interest in learning to crawl, no interest at all. So if it wanted, the mother would throw the ball and the ball would go out of reach, so it would sit and go like this. Total kapha baby. So not inclined to action, yeah. Just wants to not move too much and wants to just take it easy. That's the kind of a thing, And then the pitta person, should really, not get angry and be, work on equanimity and not go to extremes. But the pitta person, has got an obsessive compulsive personality. And if they start doing something, they'll do it till the cows come home. Yeah. And that is exactly what is wrong with their lifestyle. Extremes, you know. Yeah, if they start cleaning the house, they'll clean the whole neighborhood. And and after that they won't look at it forever. And this is what they do, this obsessive and this is the worst thing for their life. And then what? The Vata person has to be calm and restful, eat small, frequent meals, and then, not get into agitated states, and make sure that they sleep well. And these are the Vata person wants to be a night owl, and the Vata person wants to be a restless mess, and get worried about everything and mentally plan the next decade of all actions and all kinds of things. Yeah. This is what it is. Even in terms of lifestyle, one loves things that are contrary to one's own benefit. And so too here, in the yajnas and in the things that one wants, the block, when it comes, you have to be respectful of the block. But here what one does, one wants to overcome it because of that want is so much. So then when nothing else has worked, how do you know? Because we have lived several lifetimes with the same deja vu disappointment. So we know that nothing works. And if nothing else has worked, you try the mantra and the karmas that they unveil. And so they become, those karmas, Agnihotra to Ashwamedha, become the only sadhana, the last and final hope, and the only hope to change the karma of this person. Yeah. More we'll see after we come back. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.